Welcome, I'm Neka and thank you for joining this Tech Tips live event from Parent Zone. Today, we'll be discussing TikTok, what it is, why it's so popular with children and young people, and importantly, what as a parent or carer you really need to know. If this is your first Parent Zone event, we're an organisation devoted to improving outcomes for children, especially in the ever-changing online world. This session is interactive, so please say hi or pop any comments and questions you have into the chat, and keep a lookout for helpful links and resources which we'll be sharing throughout. This session should last about 15 minutes, but we know you're busy, so if you have to head off, get dinner in the oven, clean out lunch bags, or help with homework, you can re-watch the session on the same link. Please note, we cannot help with individual concerns during the sessions, but we do want to help. So if there's something related to today's themes you need personal support with, you can get in touch with Parent Zone using the email address in the chat. Okay, so that's the housekeeping done. Let's get on with today's topic. As you may well know, over the last few years, TikTok has become the go-to social media app for children and young people, as well as parents. For a bit of background, TikTok launched in 2016, so it's been around for just over 6 years, but only really became popular in 2018. Despite this, it's the fastest growing social media worldwide with more than 1 billion monthly active users. The app, if you're unfamiliar with it, lets users both create and watch video content. You can use loads of editing tools like filters, stickers, and music to make uploads as creative, entertaining, or informative as you like. The creative freedom and variety of content on TikTok is what keeps users engaged and coming back for more. Videos on the app can be up to 10 minutes long and involve anything from cooking tips and synchronized dancing to competitive gaming and guitar tutorials. And certain content can turn into a trend very quickly. These trends can last days, weeks, or months, but affect everyone's feed in some way. TikTok has an incredibly effective way of understanding what kind of content you're interested in, and it will quickly start to feed you more videos on that topic. As a result, TikTok can become very hard to put down. More on this in a bit. Even if you don't use the app personally, you probably know someone who does. And if your children aren't on TikTok already, they could be at a point where they're asking to create an account, especially if their friends are using it. As I've just mentioned, both adults and children are able to use TikTok in plenty of positive ways. But this doesn't mean that TikTok allows all ages to use the platform, and there are definitely some ages and stages you should be thinking about if your child is using TikTok already or would like to in the near future. TikTok's terms of use state that the app should be used by individuals aged 13 and over. And though it's easy enough to provide a false date of birth when signing up to TikTok, moderators will remove accounts when they suspect they belong to children under the age of 13. If your child isn't 13 yet and is either using or asking to use a platform, it might be helpful to consider these guidelines. After all, they may be even more upset if their account gets removed than if you deny them access in the first place. If you are happy for them to use TikTok at a younger age, it's useful to know that TikTok has specific privacy settings for under 16s. Users below this age have their accounts set to private by default, meaning other users must be approved before they can view your child's content, and all private messaging is disabled. As mentioned before, TikTok can be difficult to put down. It can be so easy to watch just one more video. In the same way, it can be just as hard to stop eating that tub of Pringles. At Parent Zone, we focus less on the how long when it comes to screen use and more on the what are you doing and how it's making you feel. It's all about finding the right balance and making sure that what you're doing on screen is having a positive effect on you. And if you do have concerns about the amount of time your child is spending on TikTok, the app has a few settings and functions to help control and assess the screen time usage. For example, within the app, users are able to set break reminders for themselves after periods of non-stop use. Likewise, the screen time dashboard is designed to show users just how much time they're spending online, which can be a handy reference when it comes to thinking about setting limits. TikTok may be a great way for your child to unwind, relax, learn, or create, but at the same time, you don't want it getting in the way of things like homework. Consider looking into some of these features or having a discussion with your child to agree some rules and boundaries about what or when screen use is appropriate. Another concern some parents can have with TikTok or any social media is who your child is in contact with. TikTok offers various safety settings for accounts which belong to children. As I said earlier, all accounts for under 16s are set to private by default, which restricts who can interact with or view your child's profile, as well as message them. You can also use TikTok's family pairing tool with your child's account, providing you have an account yourself. Family pairing allows you to do things like restrict what your child can search for or set screen time limits on their account. Of course, all of this is useful, but it is important to talk to your child about what, if any, restrictions or limits you plan to put in place. Help them understand why you're setting these boundaries, as well as be willing to listen to their point of view. You can find out more about family pairing, as well as safety setting and how to implement parental controls in TikTok's Guardian's Guide, which we'll link in the chat now. Parental controls are one way to filter out things like inappropriate videos or harassing individuals, but they aren't guaranteed to work every time, and TikTok moderators aren't always going to catch everything that might be upsetting. However, it's straightforward to report or block users and posts, and this is something you should make sure your child is aware of and confident in doing. To report or block, select a specific profile or video, choose the drop-down menu or the 3 dots, click either report or block, add comments to your complaint when possible. This helps moderators to review. Let your child know that they can come to you if they've experienced something upsetting online, and try to stay calm if they do, even if it's not always easy. The best thing they can do is tell you if they have any issues, so make sure it's not too daunting for them, as it takes courage to raise a problem with you in the first place. It can also be useful to know some of the organizations which can deal with the more severe kinds of incidents in the unfortunate case that something does go wrong. We'll add the link in the chat now, which contains some of Parent Zone's recommended support organizations and helplines. Using TikTok safely and positively isn't just about knowing the app's basic rules and functions. Navigating video content, whether watching or uploading, can be just as important. The platform is known for the memes, trends, and challenges that start on it, and thousands of users spend their time trying to imitate the entertaining videos they see. But some trends on TikTok can be dangerous, like the Tide Pod Challenge videos, which features individuals eating detergent pods. Likewise, some content can affect a young person's way of thinking over time. For example, an influencer called Andrew Tate, who was banned from TikTok for misogynistic content, has been blamed for many issues around sexist behavior in secondary schools. Although TikTok makes an effort to remove potentially harmful video trends, they can quickly spread. If you can, try and find a way to talk to your child about stopping and thinking about potential risk, and not simply copying what they see others doing online, whether it's for likes or because they've been pressured. As I've just mentioned, the sheer variety of content and content creators on TikTok means that some videos are bound to be more positive or negative than others. But one really powerful thing to let your child know if they're using TikTok is that they can actually have a great deal of control over the kinds of content which they see when they're online. How so? Well, the kinds of things we come across on our social media feeds are usually determined by the algorithms which underpin these apps and platforms. Algorithms are best understood as rules which instruct computers and software on how to act and operate. Once a social media algorithm is provided with info on the kinds of things we spend time watching or commenting on, even how we scroll past videos we don't watch, it starts to calculate what to do next. Basically, these algorithms use our behavioral data to predict the sort of videos we enjoy and to show us more of this content in the future. And this is where control comes in. Because our actions, by which I mean the sorts of things we spend time watching or commenting on, can actually influence the algorithms themselves, we can, as a result, direct just what it is that we see on our feeds. If your child searches out, watches, and comments on videos which are informative, funny, or just really positive, social media algorithms will be incentivized to show them more similarly uplifting content. And the same level of control applies to the content which children themselves create. By avoiding harmful or offensive posts and instead showcasing skills and interests, children can cultivate a digital presence that they can be proud of, and one which makes their online community a more welcoming and rewarding place. It's reassuring to think that we can cultivate these kinds of online spaces if we stop to think about actions and behaviors that make people happy. Helping your child to think this way can really benefit not just them, but others too. As with everything, the best thing you can do is to use your parenting skills to help your child. Make sure you understand and talk to them about how they can use TikTok. Be willing to listen to just why they enjoy it and give them calm, constructive support and boundaries around using it. Hopefully then, they can have fun and make the best of the platform. That's it for this session of Tech Tips Live. Before we go, I'd just like to remind you that if you've got any questions, concerns, or feedback you'd like to share, then we'd love for you to get in touch with us at Parent Zone. We'll be popping a contact email into the chat now. Thank you to everyone who found time to join today. This video will be ready to watch back so you can share with anyone you think might find it useful, or watch back yourself to check anything you weren't sure of or might have missed. You can also view the Parent Zone library, where we have a guide to TikTok, as well as information and advice around other platforms, apps, and digital issues that affect families. We'll link this in the chat now. Thanks once again from me, Neka, and the rest of us at Parent Zone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.